Hello, we'll get started with a yin practice for the hips. So first we'll come into child's pose. So you can come over to your hands and your knees here. And for this child's pose, you can bring your big toes to touch and widen your knees, kind of as wide as your mat here. You can see I've laid a blanket over my mat for some extra cushioning for this yin pose. We're gonna stay really close to the ground today. So getting into child's pose, go ahead and sit your hips towards your heels here. Let your forehead come onto the ground or any other surface. So for example, if the ground feels far away, you can grab a block or another blanket to place underneath the forehead. Yeah, give yourself that contact and encourage your body to release a little bit more towards the ground. So we'll start here. About 5 rounds of breath in this child's pose. Trying here, breathing in and breathing out. That's 1 round. 4 more here as you settle in for this practice. And as you breathe here, on an inhale, let the breath come down into the low back here, like you could breathe down to your tailbone. And then letting the air go all the way back out. Few more rounds of breath there, bringing the breath deep into the body, down to the tail and the root, and out as you're ready. Okay. With your next breath, you can start to pick yourself back up. You can move your block out of the way if you used an extra prop there. And keeping the knees wide here, shoulders right over the wrists. Take a breath in, filling lungs and belly. And as you exhale, sit the hips towards the heels like you're coming back into that child's pose. We'll make this a little dynamic here. Inhale, come forward. And as you come forward, the shoulders may shift over the wrist and the hip creases dip forward, okay? Exhale back to child's pose. Few times like this, inhaling, coming forward, hips dip forward. Exhale, rocking back, child's pose. One more time like that, forward. And back to child's pose. All right, let's return back up into table. You can draw your knees underneath your hips. Yeah, and walk your hands a little forward and a little bit wider here and start to circle your whole body. You can let the weight of your head go, let your head hang, neck muscles take a break. And as you circle here, think of that movement in the hip joint, right? Circling around one direction. As the hips come forward, they dip towards the ground, hips are uncreased. As the hips come to the side, leaning there, towards the back and heels, other side, dipping there, and around a couple more times here, this one direction. The next time your hips come towards your heels, brief pause and reverse, go the other way. Yeah, a few times the second way. Notice what this second side feels like. What does it feel like to be in your body in this shape, this direction? You can let those circles start to slow here, and we'll come onto the front of the body. So lower your whole body down, take one hand on top of the other, And placing your right cheek onto your hands, bring your left knee out to the side. Okay, so the inner part of your left leg is on the ground. We're in tadpole or half frog. Okay, so inner part of left leg is on the ground. Resting here for a few rounds of breath. Notice the shape of the breath here. What does it feel like to breathe here? Where does your body expand on an inhale? Right out to the edges of your body. And where does your body soften on each exhale? Staying with the breath, a few more moments this side. Okay, and then we'll switch sides. So you can bring that left leg behind you, turn your cheek over to the other side, either laying the head on the hands or onto the ground, and you'll bring your right leg out to the side. You're welcome to let that right foot widen a bit so you don't have to hold your foot in towards your body. Just let the legs soften, muscles around the pelvis soften, muscles of the leg soften. Coming back into the breath once again. What does the second side feel like as you breathe here? And try bringing the breath again all the way down to the tailbone, like you could breathe the whole length of your spine. Okay, and when you're ready to move, and that's just as it is, when you're ready, so you could stay there a little longer. But when you're ready to move, you can bring that right leg back behind you, hands on either side of your body to press you back up through table. And we'll just tuck the toes here. So all toes tucked under for a brief child's pose. Set hips towards the heels. Again, let the forehead rest down on a surface. Just 3 rounds of breath here, breathing in and breathing out. 2 more rounds of breath there. Good. And when you come to the bottom of that second exhale, or third exhale rather, you can press yourself up to table. Good. All right, so we're here in table. We're going to come to lizard pose next. So we'll take the left foot a big step forward, right? And bring that left foot outside of the left hand. So it's rather wide. If you can see the edges of your mat here, it's kind of at the edge of your mat. Okay, so hands rest beneath the shoulders. Take a moment here to tuck your back toes and kick your back heel behind you so the back knee raises up. You'll probably feel into that front of the right hip, the hip flexors there. Just experience the sensation a few moments here. Feel your breath. And then you can lower your right leg back down, untuck your right toes. So we're getting a little bit more into the hips here for sure. The hips tend to hold a lot of tension. right? And so it's a good reminder to come back to our breath, right? When we're faced with something a little bit difficult, maybe a lot of bit difficult. How can we root ourselves in the present so that we can know how to move forward, right? What decisions we need to make here on the mat, right? Whether that's adding in props. Some of you might like to bring blocks underneath the hands, come up a little bit higher here, right? Or if you haven't quite met that edge yet, you could come down onto your forearms, either on the blocks or on the ground. Here for about 3 more rounds of breath. Count them out, breathing in and breathing out. 2 more like that, breathing in and out. Last one, go ahead. And coming back onto hands, either on the block or the ground. You'll keep your right hand grounded, slide your left hand onto your left thigh for a twist here. Take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, pressing left hand into the thigh, twist open to your left side. Try to look up towards the ceiling or over your shoulder. Here for 3, here for 2, and 1. Release back down. Move your blocks off to the side. We're going to come into pigeon pose next. So taking that left foot all the way over towards your right wrist, towards your right hand, and laying the left leg onto the ground. Now, for some of us, we're going to want some support here. You could have a block underneath that left hip or a rolled blanket. Just depends on what props you have handy nearby. And then from there, lower down. So you could come onto forearms here. You could be a bit supported with a block underneath the forehead. Or if you have a bolster, that bolster can lay right out long here underneath the chest and head, and you'd bring one cheek to the bolster. Okay. Resting here in pigeon. Come back to that breath that runs along the whole spine, right? Imagining as you breathe in, breath coming right down the spine to the tailbone. And as you breathe out, the whole body softens just a little bit more. A little bit longer hold here. Just notice where your mind is. Maybe it's on sensation in the body, or it's strolling over to some thoughts or planning. Just notice where that mind has gone. And gently bring it back to the present moment, what's here now, with again the sensation of the breath. Where can you feel the breath fill the body and soften the body? Okay, over the next few breaths, pressing yourself back up, walk your hands back towards you. You can move any props from underneath your hip, sit over to your left side, and swing your right leg around. Okay, so for this next one, we'll take a twist here. For some of you, you'll keep your left knee bent and bring the right foot outside of the left knee. Right, once you're there, situate yourself so you can feel your sit bones in the ground. If that's not quite happening there, then take your left leg straight out in front of you. Okay? Wherever you are, whether that bottom leg is bent or straightened, place your right hand behind you, in close to your spine. Fingertips touch into the ground. We all have different shaped bodies, lengths of arms, so if the fingertips aren't touching the ground, you could place a block or something underneath. Okay? And you'll lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in. With the exhale, hugging around your right leg, look over your right shoulder. Okay? You can either keep those right fingertips down on the ground behind you like a kickstand, or try reaching for your left front pocket. Good, and unwind. Okay, you'll keep the left leg bent in, right leg straightens out. Hands on either side of your right leg, and notice where the center of your chest is by the sternum. Turn your sternum towards your straightened knee, towards the right knee. From there, we'll fold forward over the right knee, right? Leading with your heart pulling forward towards your right toes. Wherever you are in this fold, try to let the weight of your head go. With the weight of your head heavy towards the ground, you can give the head just a gentle shake, no. A gentle nod, yes. Then letting the head hang there. Hey, walking hands back towards you, keeping the legs in this position. Bring your left hand to the ground behind you. Press into your left hand, come on to your left shin, and reach your right arm up and over as your hips press forward. Here for just a few breaths. Okay, as you're ready, let the hips sink towards the ground, keeping legs in this position just a little bit longer. Now your chest is pointed towards your bent knee, and you'll side bend over your right leg. So the right arm reaches onto the right leg towards the toes. You could also bend your right arm and have your hand to cradle your head here, giving you some support in that way. Top arm hangs over the head like a loose noodle, limp noodle, right? That's how you know it's cooked. And feel the space in the left side of your body. Every time you breathe in, imagine the space of the side ribs widening. And each time you breathe out, those spaces narrow a bit. Good. Now turning your chest towards the ground, you can pick yourself back up. And we'll come back to table. All right, so back in table. Before we do all of that on the second side, just take a few moments to move your body through cat and cow, arching the back away from the ground in cat pose. And then looking forward, pulling chest through the arm as your tail reaches upward. And a couple times here, back and forward. Head, finding neutral table. We'll move into the second side. So the right foot comes forward, a big step between the hands. And then you'll walk your right foot outside of your hands. So it's wide to the right here. You can see that your wrists are about beneath your shoulders, okay? So that's why the right foot is quite wide, wider than your shoulders. Tuck your toes under that back foot and kick your heel behind you to lift your back knee, right? So now we're feeling front of the left hip flexors, right, where the quads attach in to the hip. Breathing here a few moments. And then lowering that back knee onto the ground, untuck your toes. Right, and here you are in lizard. You can decide if you want to either add in some more props to get a little bit higher or to come lower. So feel that sensation of breath again. Right, where do you feel the breath in the body? How do you know that you're breathing there? Right, what sensations tell you that you're breathing? Okay, and you can start to press yourself back up, either hands on blocks or the ground. Keep your left hand planted and slide your right hand onto your right thigh. Taking a breath in here to prepare for your twist. With the exhale, press right hand into right thigh. Look over towards this right side, maybe over the back shoulder. Here for 3. Here for 2. And 1, untwist. Okay, moving those blocks out of the way if you were using them. Now we come into pigeon pose. So that right foot's gonna come all the way over towards this left wrist. And you can lower your right shin onto the ground, right leg lowers. Okay? From there, start to lower down either on forearms or supporting yourself with some props. Right? As you're here, a few more moments, try to let the jaw soften. Right? The jaw has some connection with our hips, so encouraging this place to soften may also help encourage the hips to soften. You could wiggle your jaw right, left. Take a breath in through the nose, puff of air out of the mouth. Let the jaw stay soft there. Okay, starting to press yourself back up. Hands press into the ground, lift the chest, move any props out of the way, and sit over onto the right hip and swing that left leg around to the outside of your right thigh. Okay, so remember, you could keep the right knee bent, or you can straighten the right knee or right leg out. Left hand places behind you here, in close towards the spine. Inhale, reach the right arm overhead, gain some length in the spine. Exhale, hug that left knee in towards your body as you twist and look over your back shoulder. Left hand can either stay planted into the ground or reach for your right front pocket. And unwind from there. All right, left leg comes out to the side. Keep that right leg bent. Hands come either side of the left leg and turning center of chest towards that knee, fold forward. Let the weight of your head go. You can gently shake your head no. Gently nod the head yes. Okay, you can start to walk your hands back towards you, bring yourself upright, place your right hand behind you, pressuring into right shin and right hand, lift the hips up, reach them forward, and let the left arm drape back over the head. Now lowering the hips back down, chest points now towards your right knee, and you'll side bend over your left leg. Either keeping the left arm bent so your head can rest in your hand, or left hand reaches for the left foot. Both hands reach there. Notice the space in the right side of your body. And then turning your chest towards the ground, you can pick yourself back up. All right, bring both legs out in front. You can place your feet on the ground, scoot a little forward, and come onto the back of your body. All right, there on your back, you'll hug your knees into your chest, either holding by the shins or behind the thighs. You could rock here, right, left. Placing hands on your kneecaps, start to circle your knees in one direction. Right, as we circle the knees in one direction, we're circling around the sacrum as well, that lowest part of the back, and offering a bit of a massage to that area. Okay, and then reverse your circles and go the other way. And lastly, hug the knees into the chest again. Take a big breath in. With your exhale, feet find the ground, slide out in front of you. Reach your arms overhead for a big stretch here. As you reach through your fingertips, reach through your feet, and come into Shavasana, arms by the sides, legs stay out long. Let your eyes settle or close. Notice again that you're breathing. Be here with the breath a few more moments. And coming back, notice the sensation of your breath again, that rise and fall. Sliding your feet back onto the ground, knees point up. Hug the knees into your chest. You can roll onto one side. Press yourself back up. And here, seated for just 3 rounds of breath. Find a comfortable seat. Feel the length of your spine. Breathing in here and out there. 2 more times. Laying the hands over the heart there. Just offering in a bit of gratitude for carving out this time to practice some movement, practice some yoga, mindfulness. And thank you all.